organizations with sales teams and the systems that make them great. And we really focus on legendary companies. Is that good? Are we still on? It is to start over.
Yeah, you're good. Continue.
Okay, all right. So, okay, having a little technical stuff here backside, so don't mind me talking to the team. Okay, so what I want you to be thinking about here as we're going to enter this conversation is as you are growing, there's a few things that go on in in the online business world specifically, far more than in brick and mortar businesses. There seems to be this trend where most companies aren't thinking about the sales piece of the puzzle until after everything else is done, instead of identifying from the beginning that you gotta make sales to make revenue. So people are making content, making products, making solutions, building structures and to deliver and fulfill on a solution without giving a tremendous amount of thought to what's going to be the sales mechanism. How is it going to work? How are you going to attract the right people? How are you going to qualify them? How are you going to move them through an experience to ensure that they're in the right place, that they know what they're doing is what they should be doing. And especially in today's marketplace, there's nowhere near enough thought and detail given to the nuance that needs to occur. And that meaning just all of the touch points, the levers that need to be pulled. For some reason, there seems to be this belief or perspective that if I can just get salespeople, last thing I do, and I'll just throw salespeople at my leads and at my business, and they'll all my problems will be solved. And then and again, the disconnect on the sales people side, on the sales rep side, is that the sales industry, the closer industry, has been, has been sold a bill of goods. Every sales trainer out there teaches how to have a sales conversation, but almost none of them are teaching how do you create a sale? How do you generate a sale? And by that, I don't necessarily mean going out into the world like we used to do back in 1990. 1989, my first sales job where I walked in and they handed me a phone book and a rotary phone and said, there you go. Right, accompanied with a crappy script that the founder of the company put together, who had no business writing a script, and said, "I'll be over here if you need me." And it was either get on the phone and call random strangers through the phone book, go through the yellow pages, and just randomly call on businesses, or get your happy little behind out into the marketplace and let your feet hit the street while you were going out there finding clients. That's what it used to be called, sales. That's how the game was. Now we know we've come a long way in all of that. However, the people who have sold and learned to sell 10, 20 years ago or more have a distinct advantage because we've learned how to actually operate in an environment when things don't go exactly as they're supposed to and according to plan. I talked to a great friend, colleague yesterday who's been in our world for some time, Tracy, and she was talking about how she has created her own little enterprise inside of the company that she's working with, so that she's literally running her own little webinars and trainings and creating her own pipelines and stuff, so that as the lead comes in, she's giving them a dynamic experience that's unique to her. She's taking the ownership of qualifying the lead, serving the lead, delivering the onboarding, making sure she's staying engaged with them while she's moving through the process. So that the first 30 days, we like to script the first 30, 60, 90 days for clients and what it looks like. And leaving nothing to chance and taking everything under control. And I just don't see enough of that in salespeople. I think, the average closer right now, I'm using the term closer very distinctively because the closer is the person, if that's you, who believes that your job is to show up and run appointments from the calendar. I can't tell you numerous, dozens of conversations with closers in the last 30, probably the last 90 days. And overwhelmingly, the belief set is, no, I don't want to have to show up for meetings. I don't want to have to do the things. I don't want to have to record your stuff. I want to do as absolute minimal possible. I don't want to do the admin stuff. I don't want to make any outbound dials. I barely even want to pick up a phone. I just want to get on the meetings for the people who are on my calendar. And when that's not happening, then I'm doing other things or selling on other campaigns. And there's different variations of that, but that is an overwhelming majority of conversations that I hear and have from closers, which is why we don't focus on closing. We focus on creating sales, sales professionals, sales reps, sales pros who understand that creating a sale is far more important than just being able to close one. Because right now, if you think that you being able to close a qualified sale that someone else has done all the work to bring those people into the world, get them qualified, get them clear, get them ready to roll, and tee them up for everything so that all you have to do is ask them a few questions and get them across the finish line, then you're a commodity. You may be good at what you do, and you may be a good commodity that right now is probably being paid well, but you're a commodity nonetheless, because then you are a one-dimensional unit. And the moment you're not performing or producing, I promise you, those founders are wanting to get rid of you, right? And so many times, closers are very overinflating our sense of self-worth, and really believe something that's just not true. And that is that your ability to close sales is everything and is all that you need. And it just isn't. Trying to find a new character. Put this thing. You can move. So Tony, can you put the settings on here so that anybody who's off video is not seen, so that I don't get those other boxes off? All right. Okay, so I'm not here to beat up on salespeople because we walk the line between both worlds. I've been a salesperson my entire life. They sold everything. Physically on the phones. I've been phone rooms, I've run phone rooms, I've built phone rooms, I've been door knocker extraordinaire. I've built network marketing companies. I've built sales teams virtually in every other way. I love sales and I love salespeople and I love sales teams. What I also love is being able to preserve and restore the nobility and the honor to this once great profession that has just been destroyed reputation wise in the marketplace because of all the hacks and things that people do. You hear the old term that marketers ruin everything. Well, that's also true about salespeople. Anybody who's selling and dealing with the public tend to, when we find something that works, we tend to beat it to death, and then it gets copied and cloned and other people doing things at scale. And there's a ton of little hacks and things that people do. And all they do is piss off the marketplace. But we don't care. We just want to make sales. We know if it works, I'll make more sales, I'll make more money. Therefore, who cares about the people it pisses off or the things that it does wrong? As I do, we are having a relationship. Salesperson, you have a relationship, a symbiotic relationship with a company, with the founder, with the company itself. For you have a relationship, not just with the warm audience of people that company serves, but with the marketplace in general. We are the ambassadors of sales and marketing to the marketplace. They engage you, they talk to you, they build relationship with you, right? So we are setting the stage and setting the tone for future engagements. And those of you who think you're living in the one call close environment, I got news for you. There's no such thing. Do you have any idea how few people wake up in the morning, discover they have a problem, find you online, click on your ad, show up on your calendar, and buy from you today? That didn't happen. Okay, now that may have been the first time you spoke to them, but I promise you, the average person is looking and shopping and speaking and seeking and testing and trying and going through funnels and all around webinars, and they're not getting what they want, or they've tried other people, they've hired other companies, and then finally they come across yours and yours has exactly what they need. That doesn't make a one call close. If you're converting anywhere around 10%, usually between 10 and 15%, then try this one on for size. Most of those sales we're going to close without you. 10% of sales, 10% of buyers were going to buy. All they needed to make sure is you weren't going to screw up the sale. If you start getting closer to 20%, now you're at least making your skill set move people forward. right? And then when we get beyond that to 30, 40, and 50, as we have on many campaigns and beyond, that's because everybody's involved. The company is doing what's necessary to invest in good qualified opportunities, in good targeting, and then good systems that make sure that people are served and qualified and expectant, right? We don't just want to book a call. We want to set up a conversation that delivers expectancy. So somebody is excited about showing up. They know what's going to happen. They're looking forward to it. They've been prepared for it. And that doesn't just come from the company. That's also a setter's job. If you're a setter, that's also the salesperson's job. It is 100%. Once it's on your calendar, it is 100% your responsibility to ensure that person shows up ready to rock and roll. It's not just the setter's job, right? I see this again. All I'm doing is I'm telling you what I see on campaigns all the time in conversations, all the time in the marketplace. And I hear these things from salespeople all the time. That's not my job. That's not my job. That's not my job. Right? Somebody no showed you uh, on a call, and you call them once to see if they, call them instead of just waiting for the Zoom, you reach out and text them or call them, and then you get nothing, and then it just sits in the queue. Or you kill it and cancel it as a no-show, but you're not doing anything to engage it. And then you're making sure the setter's doing something with it instead of you reaching out to that person now that person got an engagement with you, especially if you've done your work on the front end to running like due diligence. Are you doing research on your clients, prospects? I'm going to guess you likely you're not. And if you do, are you doing it on everyone? Are you doing it all the time? Because you have a system, a strategy, and process to ensure that it happens. I don't see salespeople doing this. I see very, very few of them. And the ones who do win all the time. I win at sales because I'm great at sales. And more importantly, because I structure my world in such a way that sales happen. Because I take business owner to salesperson and I make that happen. I don't just show up as a closer. I am an invaluable resource and a profit center to any company that I work with. Right? And that's what you need to be as a salesperson. And then as a business owner, you also have to be responsible to be doing that on the other end. Doesn't mean you're going to do it perfect. And any salesperson who expects the company to be perfect you're lost in your mind as well. Right? The company's not going to be perfect, especially when the marketplace moves and changes and ebbs and flows fast enough to give you whiplash, faster than it ever has in the history of the world. And companies got to move with those changes. That means every time algorithms change, every time the buyers change, every time the economy shifts, tariffs, regulations, political climate, every time those things happen, mean the buyer's journey and experience is shifting, which means the company has to shift how they're targeting, how they're messaging, how they're marketing, what are they qualifying for, etc. And you can't just sit as a salesperson in your lounge chair waiting for everybody else to adjust while you're just waiting for others to show up. Right? You have to be, okay, what am I going to do? Especially if the company has performed well with you before. Right? They've been keeping you fed and keeping leads coming and keeping opportunities coming, and then they hit a patch because of any of the reasons that I was just talking about. And you're like, great, they're not giving me any leads. I guess I better go over to this other company and go sell for them while the leads are getting back up to speed here. Instead of going, hey, business owner, founder, how can I help? I've eaten very well for the last 6 months, 12 months, 18 months on this campaign, and we've hit a dry spell. Where's the people who want me to call? Who can I call? What can I do? What do you need from me? Or just take ownership and be creative, like Tracy that I was talking about. And these are things that I've done. I've absolutely have no problem on a campaign saying, even though the company might be running a webinar, I'll run my own Q&A session. I'll get a chunk of the list of leads from the list. I'll invite them to my own session, share testimonials, play a video from the founder, offer my own thing. And dude, I'm going to do whatever I got to do to get people across the line on my calendar, onto a conversation, and into the company and as a buyer. And then I am going to take ownership of all my own clients that have been enrolled and follow up with them. 30, 60, 90-day journey. I got that stuff planned out. I know what I'm going to do at 2 weeks. I know what I'm going to do at the 10-day mark. I know what I'm going to do at the end of the first month, right? Because I need to make sure their experience is great so that, number one, whenever an upsell time comes, I'm there for it. And when things are going great, we're there to get referrals from it and from them, right? And if anything comes up that is going sideways, instead of them canceling and disappearing, you are there to solve and support. Now, I already hear you, so I hear it all the time. That's not my job. Okay? It's not your job. But do you want to always get paid? Do you want to make sure that the clients see you as hugely irreplaceable and valuable? Or do you just want to be seen as a closer? Right? Do you want to be somebody who doesn't have to shop around and doesn't have to bounce from gig to gig to gig because you're always just trying to find where the grass is greener? You get to choose your own adventure. If that's what you want, that's fantastic. But I have nothing for you because that's not the people we hire. And those aren't the companies that we set them up with. Right? We companies, you founders, you've got to be getting things in place. You always have to be thinking about what does my team need so that they can do their job easy. Our whole mission, the reason we started this whole company 10 years ago, was to create an environment and a place where the sales experience for the salesperson, because I all won for the salesperson to win, to be able to consistently, predictably overachieve. So everything we do is to try to build the system in place so that the salesperson can do everything they need as effectively as they need, consistently as they need to win. Because then what happens if you take a great salesperson and drop them in an environment that doesn't have all those things, now that great person becomes extremely average, right? Because if it's only up to your chops, there just isn't enough of you, and you're human, which means you are going to have ebbs and flows, ups and downs, and you are only as good as your last day. And I promise you, the founders look at salespeople like spatulas and like tools. I know I've been repeating myself from the previous live on some of this, but it merits being said again. You need to hear it because you might think something different, but they're always coming to us going, man, when are you going to fire that guy? I need another one. Find me a new one. Need a new one. And I'm going, dude, I'm not going to fire him. We're working on it with him. He's going through a spell. He's got a mortgage to pay. He's got kids to feed. You can't just fire him because he had a bad week, right? Or a bad month. Or the kind of things that founders say. Well, when you bring on the new two people, we got to let the bottom two go. Yeah, well, that's a philosophy, not my philosophy. If they're not doing, I will do anything I can. Now, I may take you off the rotation to make sure you're not costing the company money and calendar slots and leads. But if you're going through something and you're willing to work on it, I will work on it. We will work on it with you until you stop working on it. The moment you stop working on it and putting the effort out, I got nothing for you because I can't fight for you. So then you're done, right? In that case. But if you are working your tail off to get back into the swing of things, we will work with you and make sure it happens. Okay. So, and those are the things we do. We fight for the sales team and we demand performance, right? So we have to always walk that line. We got to make sure we challenge and grow salespeople, no matter how good you are. And, and then on the founder side, we got to make sure that founders have everything they need. We're constantly, we see behind the scenes on campaigns we're supporting with our clients. We are cracking the whip with our clients all the time. I need those videos. I need those funnels. I need this done. We need to get this sales page updated. It's got the wrong dates on it. We're missing. We are cracking the whip. We have a whole company back here that's working, integrating with other companies, and we're doing all of these things. And then at the same time, we're over here with the salespeople going, dude, update your CRM notes, follow up, hand this stuff off, bring these details to the pipeline meeting, make sure you can't convert this thing, you need to hand it off. Right? We're on them all the time to elevate and to ensure they have everything they need, and we're on the founders all the time to ensure that they're doing all the things, they're doing their part to serve and make sure that this experience is fantastic, right? And that's what you need to think about. So whichever lane you are in, founder, salesperson, setter, you're part of the salesperson. You're in that same vein, same journey. The one thing I have for you right now as a sales pro, with us as a setter, is keeping this concept in mind. You're not an appointment setter. You are a table setter, right? Take this perspective. The appointment setter doesn't care what happens beyond the appointment. The table setter is priming somebody to eat a meal. right? So you are qualifying and making sure if you're going to put somebody at your table to eat, you're going to make sure they're hungry. You're going to make sure they want the food that you have. You're going to make sure they're going to show up and bring something and contribute and offer a bottle of wine, whatever it is you're having. You want to make sure the right people. You're just going to throw any random person at your dinner table, right? Unless you've got a different mission. And that's, that's conversations for another day. But your job is to ensure that the right people are showing up for the right opportunity or moving people and pointing them in the right direction so they get what they need until they are ready to come to the table. We're not just here to throw people on the table. Okay? So founders, you have to know that the sales team isn't going to talk to every single person. We have to make sure that we are talking to the most likely, most probable people to be able to convert. And sales team, you have to be willing to go beyond that. You have to be willing to take people who are lesser qualified, or maybe they're just lesser clear because they didn't watch the videos or they didn't do the things or they came to the webinar, but they were off screen the whole time and they weren't really paying attention. So they know this much about what they should know. We want them to know this much. Right? I remember when we were doing tons of launches for PLF Jeff Walker launches. And I remember having this conversation with a very prominent known expert that you would know by name. I'll keep him anonymous here. We're talking about the PLF formula. And Jeff Walker was saying specifically that if people watch all the videos and participate in the whole launch, there's no need for a sales team because the launch is designed to tell the story and move them through the journey. And I said, that's wonderful, Mr. Jeff. How many people, what percentage of people do you honestly believe, and where's your evidence of it, that 100% of the people are going to read all of the emails, watch all of the videos, show up for all the webinars, and do everything you say? You got a ballpark on that? Because we did. And we found that on really good campaigns, 17 to 23% of those people do. And on the average campaigns that were not designed very well, it was more like 7%, which means 93% of people were not going through all the videos, all the emails, all of the webinars, which means if they only saw one webinar and watched a couple of emails, you had to be hot to trot on that one moment you had to convert them. Because if not, they didn't get the whole story. So it didn't make sense. So they didn't buy. And that's if your targeting is on point. The launch itself has nothing to do with the marketing and the targeting. That's the secondary piece. So you add those all in together and it gets that much more challenging. So then the reason you need salespeople in that environment is because the salesperson fills in the gaps and tells the rest of the story and gets more of the qualifying done, right? Although the webinar sequence in a launch, and this isn't about the launch form, this is about just understanding the symbiotic nature between salesperson, campaigns, funnel, company, right? Founders. And your job is to fill in the gaps. Your job is to tell the parts of the story that they didn't get to hear or see because they didn't engage all of the content. And you don't do it by saying, well, go back and watch it all. You could with a very small return rate. Or you tell them the rest of the story. You get them qualified. You get them excited about what's possible. You get them clear on the consequences of not taking action, what their life's going to be like if they move forward, and what their life's going to be like if they don't. And that's part of your job. And the better you can do that, the more opportunities you get, the more value you bring, the greater the opportunity, the greater things you will do, right? Because you will be an irreplaceable profit center for a company. There's a dance here, ebb and flow. So I want to point you to something here. So let me know what you're hearing. Right, type in the chat. Are you a salesperson? Are you founder? Are you both? Are you a solopreneur? Who's doing all of the above? Right, then you got to do both. Right, you have to create systems and structures to be able to get you in place so that when you are in sales mode, all you have to be is in sales mode. You don't have to also try to be the magic unicorn and deliver a world-class experience, because I got news for you. You don't do it every day. I'm as good as anybody you're going to meet. And I don't do it every day because I'm human. Some days I forget, or I didn't show up the way I needed to, or I didn't do the due diligence the way I usually do, or the needed to, or should have, or I just feeling bad today. Just one of those days. Who the heck knows? And so I didn't do my best. Right? Which is why you need to make sure the systems make up for the shortfalls and the gaps. Okay, so we have something coming up that I want to invite you to participate in, and with something called Dollars in the Door Live Selling Week. And it is purely designed to get you in gear, assuming you're already a salesperson, because you are. If you're watching this with any interest at all, it's because you're in business. And if you're in business, you're a salesperson. So you're either a salesperson or a business owner, and this is compelling and interesting to you in some way, or you wouldn't be listening right now. So here's the deal. We have delivered over $500 million worth of results for our clients. We've done hundreds of thousands of sales conversations through our company and hundreds of events and launches and campaigns. We've seen everything, and we still see it in a multitude of industries. And these things show up all the time. And here's the consistent thread across all companies, all industries, all everything. You have two choices. You can spend all of your time trying to master being a world-class closer. And the likelihood is you won't. It won't work. It shouldn't even going to be, because you're busy building a life, running a business, and doing all of the other things that are required in your world, which means you don't have everything you need. You're not going to be able to do all the things necessary. Plus, you probably don't want to. You didn't get in business to be a salesperson, right? So you're not going to spend all the time and mastering all the techniques and all the things you need to do to become the greatest closer that you can be. I'm a great salesperson, and I still prefer option B, which is structuring your world and your environment in such a way that sales happen naturally, consistently, and predictably. I opt for that over being a magical unicorn closer 100 times out of 100, because when that occurs, sales happen. And that's what the Dollars in the Door live selling week is about. We are going to go live every morning for an hour, and we're going to have power hours, and you are going to show up, and we're going to run you like you're a sales team. We're going to make sure you are reaching out. You're getting people. The whole objective is that the whole deliverable for the week is you're going to become the person that people say yes to. We're going to pull the legendary badass out of you, so that you show up in such a way that people say, heck yeah, I want to get back on a calendar with you. Yes, I want that appointment. Yeah, I know you made me that offer a month ago, and I just haven't been able to get back to you or whatever, because you're going to be the one who's pulling them forward. And this is all about doing what you know you should be doing, but what we all know you haven't been doing. Because if you had been doing them, you wouldn't be watching me right now, because you'd be busy serving all your clients, because you'd have a freaking full slate of them and a pipeline full. But you don't, which is why you're here talking. So let's get you in action doing the things that you need to do. And you need to sign up right away. If you're interested, type dollars in the chat, and we'll get you the link to register for Dollars in the Door at a steep discount, so that we can get you going. And there's a little bit of prep work ahead of time that you got to do, because there's a few things you have to do ahead of time so that you can be in live selling mode during live selling week, so that you can get dollars in the door and get back in front of the right people and start doing the things you need to do. Because I'm here to prove to you that 1 week of consistent, focused activity, the compound effect of daily activity every day for one single week, is going to jumpstart your business and put you on a path to double what you've done the first part of the year in the last 4 months. That's my challenge to you. And so you will make money next week, and or you will have all the activity going to set yourself up for money to be coming in the next week and the following. So that's all depending upon what you have going currently. But we're going to blow your mind with the stuff you're going to do. And you're going to be, the thing that's really going to blow your mind is how simple this is and how hard you are making it. So either you or your team all participate, engage, type dollars in the chat, and we will get you what you need. If you're not getting a response right away, direct message me, hit me up on wherever you're seeing this stream, and YouTube, on TikTok, on LinkedIn, on Facebook, in our group, wherever it is, wherever you're watching this, direct message me, and we will get you what you need so that you get registered for this. All I can tell you is don't miss out. There's no excuse. What I don't want for you is to get through the end of next week, and right now you're going to say, man, I'm too busy. If you're too busy to do these things, then you're too busy to be in business, because this is how you make business happen. Like I said, if you're already doing this, you wouldn't be having 30 minutes to sit here and listen to me, because you'd be busy serving all of your clients. Instead, you need to be in action, getting in front of the right people, doing the simple strategic things that'll take to pull those people in front of you, get people across the finish line that you've already talked to, get people booking who promised they would, get people to show up who never took the action to book the call, and setting up some things where you're going to get some of our secret sauce on the inside of what needs to happen, what we do for ourselves and for our clients' campaigns that you will be able to do. It will change how you see selling forever going forward. Dollars in the door, live selling week. Let's turn you into a profit center for your company or for the company that you are selling for. Right? Thanks for trusting us to be part of your success team. We will see you on the next one. We can't wait to see you bringing in more